Hey guys, welcome back to the channel. Today I've got another real estate topic for you, and I'm going to be talking about what I've learned submitting offers for buyer clients trying to buy houses, and what goes into an offer, how to make an offer seem stronger, and just creative ways to make an offer seem more appealing for sellers in this crazy seller's market. So if you haven't been following along, my name is Dan, and I've been a real estate agent now for about 1 year, and I've got couple deals under my belt, and all of them have been in regards to the buying agent or helping real estate buyers buy houses. So I'm going to go through or talk about some things that I've learned when I'm submitting these offers and trying to win these deals for my clients. This video is mainly for my other new real estate agents that are also curious about what goes into the offer, and also for some of you home buyers out there that are curious. Maybe you're trying to buy a house yourselves without a real estate agent, or just curious in what your real estate agent is doing to help you try and win deals. So hopefully this video will help you answer some of your questions. Now, what goes into a real estate offer, and the main thing that everyone really looks at, is the purchase price. Sometimes it doesn't really matter what everything else is. The buyer or the seller may only just be looking at the purchase price, how much money their house can sell for. But in reality, there are actually a bunch of other things that can also go into a good real estate deal. Some of these other things include how much money you're actually putting down in terms of a down payment. For a conventional loan, most buyers will be putting down 20% and then financing the rest. But you can always offer to put more down payment, whether it be 30, 40, 50% down on the house in cash and then financing the rest. There are other ways to put less percent down, as low as 3.5% to 5% on an FHA loan, but those can be seen as a little bit less certain for the seller if you're a buyer and only putting down 5%, because it can cause issues during the appraisal for the home. Other things that are in consideration for a good offer are also contingencies. A lot of times buyers will put a mortgage contingency, an appraisal contingency, an inspection contingency as the big three, or the main three contingencies that they want to keep in their contract when they're going into when they're submitting it to the sellers. Now I'm going to go through briefly about what those three are. Now, what the appraisal contingency means is that the buyer is making sure that their house can appraise for the price that they offered. So if it's a $700,000 house and the bank comes or the lender comes $700,000 for a house that's listed for $650,000, so what happens is usually the lender or the bank will hire an appraiser to see or find out how much the house that we're looking at is worth, and they're going to be comparing it to other houses that have sold within the area. So they will take those comparisons and try to figure out how much your house is actually worth. And with the appraisal contingency, let's say for example the house is being bought for $700,000, but the appraisal comes back at $650,000, which means that the bank thinks that the house is only worth $650,000, but you're paying $700,000 for it. This means that the bank may not lend you enough money to pay for the entire house. They only lend you money based on the $650,000 appraisal amount and not at the $700,000 purchase price. This means that you as a buyer might have to make up the difference, make up the extra $50,000, whether it be cash or you have to go through another lender to try and figure out, or to try and get a more accurate appraisal, or an appraisal that's more in your favor. So the appraisal contingency means that if your house doesn't appraise for the number or the offer price that you put in, you can actually back out of the deal and you will get your down payment back, or you get your good faith deposit back, and you will not be obligated to go through the deal. You can just back out and you can go and find another house. As you can tell, the buyer has a lot of power here because they can back out of the entire deal just because the appraisal didn't say that the house is worth what you offered on it. That means if you waive the appraisal contingency, it will make your offer that much stronger, because the seller, especially seeing that it doesn't matter what the house appraises for, the buyer will make up the difference regardless, and they can't back out of the deal either way. So that means they probably have enough money to be able to close the gap. The other contingencies are the mortgage contingency. Sometimes the buyer something may have happened to their credit, or something just might have happened in general where the bank or the lender cannot guarantee or give this mortgage to the person that applied for it. This mortgage contingency basically states that if that happens, the buyer can back out of the deal. Again, this is a lot of power for the buyer. It is a good safety net for them, but also the seller can get a little nervous if things happen. They want to know that the buyer will still go through with it instead of being able to back out of the deal. So that's another contingency the buyer can either put or waive in their contract. The third contingency that's also seen as one of the most important is the inspection contingency, basically stating that you can still have the inspection, but you can't back out of the deal based on what you find on this home inspection. So when a buyer puts in an offer on a house, the next thing that they do usually, if their offer is accepted, is have an inspector go through the house just to make sure that there's no major issues, no major structural issues with the house, and that they can go forward with it. If they waive the inspection contingency, it just means that whatever they find, they will not back out the deal. They will often actually not even have an inspector because they don't have an inspection contingency in the contract. They're going to be buying the house as is, and regardless of what condition the house is, they'll be going forward with the deal. As you can see here, the seller will be a lot more comfortable if the buyer did not have an inspection, because things can come up that you did not know about the house. Maybe there's some structural damage in the basement, or maybe there's a water leak in the basement they didn't know about. If the buyer waives that contingency, it can make that offer more appealing to you, and not just the offer price. Okay, so far we've gone through two major ways you can make your offer more competitive. One is how much of a down payment you're making, and depending on the type of loan you have, and also either including or waiving contingencies in your offer to make your offers stand out more. Now, the third way that I found to make offers more enticing for buyers is to mention that, one, they don't have a house to sell. And this has happened for basically all my buyers. A lot of my buyers have been renting in their previous residence, and now they're buying their first home, which means that they don't have to sell their house. They don't have to, it's not contingent on them selling their house so they can have enough funds to fund the new house that they're buying. It just means that they can move in straight from where they're renting straight to the new house. And your offer is that much stronger because it's harder time selling a house and buying a new one and all at the same time. Another way to make your offer stand out more is just how flexible you are in regards to your move-in date and your closing dates. So some sellers may need some more time when their offer is accepted to, one, move out of the house. Maybe it's also to find another house to live in. They just need an extra month or two. So if you're a buyer with some flexibility in regard to time, you don't have to move into the house right away. You may be able to put that in your offer and say that, hey, we're flexible on closing date, move-in date. We can move, we can be as flexible as 2 or 3 months to help you guys, or to help facilitate you guys moving out and finding a new home. So those are some methods to help make your offer stronger. Those are some methods that I've used in the past to help get my offers or my buyers' offers accepted. And I'll just do a little rundown of what we talked about. Number one is probably the one that has the most weight in regards to buyers and seller, and it is the purchase price. That is definitely still one of the most important factors in regards to how strong your offer is. If you're paying or offering more money than the other person, probably going to win you the offer. But there are other ways to make your offer more enticing, and that is one, to put more money down as a down payment on the house, so that reduces your mortgage, and that helps with the appraisal. It really just, by putting more money down, it basically puts the stress off of the appraisal and not having to make sure that the appraisal matches the amount that you're offering on the house. I can go over appraisals in a different video, but moving along, the third thing that you can do to make your offer more enticing is to add or waive contingencies, whether it be mortgage, appraisal, or inspection contingencies. You can waive those to make your deal stand out to the buyer or to the seller. And also you can talk about, you don't have to sell a house in order to move into the house that you're buying, and also you can be flexible with the move-in or closing date. So hopefully those ideas help you, whether you're a new agent trying to make your buyer's offer stand out, or if you're just a home buyer looking to make your own offer stand out when you're making offers to these listing agents and sellers. If that video helped you guys, give it a thumbs up and consider subscribing to the channel I hope you guys enjoyed it and hope you guys found it helpful, and I'll see you in the next video.